Well, yeah. So it'll be on page 3 if you want to read, and then they'll say. Are we live? Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So for everyone who was with us on YouTube, for those who were with us on YouTube, we just came from dinner. We have had 70 people for a really lovely dinner, so I want to thank Slav and the engagement committee for all of their efforts. A wonderful dinner by Ladyfingers. So we have a couple of things that are going to get us started off tonight. First of all, they needed to leave because they wanted to go see their precious little bundle, but I want us all to know that Andrea and Steve Coven became great-grandparents yesterday. Yeah, Mazel Tov. A baby girl named Oakley. Thank God the baby and Faye are doing well. And I saw a picture of Calvin holding the baby. So another member of Temple Shalom and another Simcha. So that's really great news. So if you didn't know, feel free to give them a call, send them a text, and wish them Mazel Tov. Today also happens to be the birthday of someone that has been very involved and is currently at the moment trying to get things situated. But Travis, we're going to ask you to stop because we want to sing Yom Huledet Sameach to Travis Duval on the count of 3. Achad, shtaim, shalosh. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. And many more. Okay, so before we begin with the music, we have a video that you guys are going to watch, and then we'll talk about the red tickets.
Hey, Louisville, what are you doing on December 14th? I'm Joel Chasnoff, stand-up comedian, author, former IDF lone soldier, and I'll tell you what I'm doing on Saturday night, December 14th. I am coming to perform comedy for you at Temple Shalom. We are going to come together as a community and laugh. And hey, big shout out to Sharon and Ed Gould for sponsoring this event. For more information, go to templeshalomky.org. And if you want to know more about me, it's really easy. Just go to joelchasnoff.com, or you can Google Jewish comedian, and I'm on page 12,904.
So, first of all, thanks to Sharon and Ed for helping bringing Joel Chasnoff back to us. Many of you were here the first time he was here. It was March of 2020. It was our Purim event. We had a barbecue dinner that Barry Berlin of blessed memory helped organize. And then we unfortunately went into lockdown a few days later. And we didn't know much about it, and Barry was scheduled to have a heart procedure. Clearly, if anybody had known then what we know now, it would have been postponed. But unfortunately, he caught COVID in the hospital, and unfortunately, he didn't survive. So, which is why we have those tzedakah cans. We have a couple left that one of his friends created in memory of Barry. So that was the last time Joel came. This time, he's going to do comedy. It's not the same act. But we also have 2 additional events happening. And I hope that you will spread the word, please. We took out an ad in Community for 2 months, and we're hoping that people will join us. So Friday night, he'll speak from the Bima, and his topic will be Life in Israel after October 7th. Shabbat morning after services, we're having a lunch and learn. We're getting bagels and lox from Born to Bagel. And the topic will be the Code of Ethics for the IDF. We're going to actually look at the Code of Ethics. And I told him, be prepared for some tough questions. And he said, that's fine. So we're going to have a lunch and learn at lunch. And that night, Saturday night, we're going to have a wine and cheese reception, and we're going to have the comedy show. So it's open to the community. If you're a member of Temple Shalom, $36 gets you entrance to everything. Friday night, no one has to pay for. But if you want to join us for lunch and the comedy show, it's a flat rate. So $36 gets you both. And if you have friends that are not members, $54. So spread the word. And the video that went out in today's email blast, feel free to share that with others. Or if you're on Facebook, please go to my page and share the post that I did. It'll just help spread the word, okay? Because he's going to be here in a couple weeks, and we really want to have a lot of people that can laugh, because we all could use a good laugh right about now. All right, so now comes the tickets. So who would like to come up and pick a ticket? Hunter, do you want to come up and pick a ticket? Do you want to come up here, Hunter? Yeah, and pick a ticket? Come here. Whoever, take out your tickets. If you have this number, you are winning 2 tickets to Joel Chasnoff. All right? 2 tickets. So here. This is Michelle and Gal's son. Pick. Oh, those are 2. 1 second, you're going to do it again. Do them up again. Okay, pick 1 ticket, Hunter. Anyone? Just 1. Yay! And the winner is?
We got a winner. 3 last numbers is 365.
Yay! Holly Haynes. 2 ticket. Woo! Mark them down.
I really encourage everyone to come for those events, because it's going to be much more than bagel and lax, and it's definitely going to be a lot of laughs, and we need them. So please be our guest. Thank you, Reverend.
Be our guest. Be our guest. What's the next word? What? Put our service to the test. All right. So now on to Shabbat services. So Matt Doctorow, yes, come on up to the Bima. He is our Bima guest tonight. Thank you, Matt. And as you can see, and we are very thankful, we have members of our congregation, more than normal, who are going to be leading us in music tonight. So on the guitar, we have Aviv Naamani. Woo! On the clavinova, we have Steve Bloom. Woo! On the concertina, we have Carol Safkovich. Woo! And on the violin, we have Linda Klein. Woo! And our vocalists tonight are Sheila Steinman Wallace. Woo! Jeannie Kroll. Woo! Sarah Bloom. And Rabbi David Bloom. Woo! All right, so we are going to begin tonight on page 10 with the singing of Hine Matov. Page 10, Hine Matov. How wonderful it is when we come together. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to invite Sandy and Ellen to the bima as we continue on page 3 for our reading before the lighting of the candles.
Make sure we got the right thing. And I'm on the wrong page. The first one? Which one? Okay. As these candlelights give, you ready? You do it. 1, 2, 3, go. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Well, we have another Mazel Tov in the house. So, Ellen became a grandmother again. Her daughter, Lauren, had a baby boy, Ethan Alexander. Mazel Tov. May you have share many simchas together. So, one of the blessings that we say on the New Year's, that we say on festivals, on the first night of Hanukkah, on the first night of Sukkot, is the Shehechianu. But it's also something that we can do when we're doing something for the first time. So this is the first time this year that we are gathering together as a congregant to say thank you to all our volunteers and to come together for Volunteer Appreciation Shabbat. So this is an appropriate time for us to join together in the chanting of Shehechianu, where we thank God for keeping us alive, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this day.
Please join with us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'hegiyanu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'hegiyanu lazman hazeh.
Thank you. So now we're going to continue on page 20 with Lacha Dodi, where we welcome the Sabbath bride. I trust we're doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Is that correct? Verses 1, 2, 5, and 9?
Yes.
And at the beginning of verse 9, I'm going to ask everyone to please rise, and we will face the entrance of the sanctuary, symbolically welcoming the Sabbath bride. Lecha Dodi, page 20.
Shamor v'sochor b'ni porachad, Hishmi hanu el ha-meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem ol tiferet v'liti la 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 la, Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la, Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, Ki mikor ha'beracha, Merosh mikedem yisucha, Sof ma'aseh v'machshavati, la 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 la, Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la, Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la. Hitoreri, Kiva orech kumi ori shir daberi, Kivod Adonai aleich nigla la 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 la, Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la, Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la.
Please rise.
Boi v'shalom, ateret b'hala, Gam b'simcha u'b'tzochala, Toch emunei am sigura, Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la, Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la, la 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 la, Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la, Lecha Dodi likra kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat nikra b'la.
We're going to remain standing as we continue on page 28 with the Baruch Hu, our call to worship as we open the ark.
I think that's easy, isn't it? It's 22. Let's just go. Okay.
Baruch
At this time, we are going to join together with our blessing for creation, Ma'ariv, our Avim. Our tradition teaches us that we are partners with God in the creation of the world. And we also know that at times when there's so much around us that's changing and so much that's uncertain in our world, one thing that we have come to rely on is that in the evening, it will get dark, the stars will come out along with the moon and the stars, and in the morning we will awaken to a new day with the sunlight. So tonight, let's join together page 30. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arim uvitvuna mishane itim umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech vechoshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla umavdil ben yom uvein layla Adonai tzvaot shemo El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed Baruch ata Adonai hama'ariv aravim. And now we continue on page 32 with the singing of Ahavat Olam, the blessing that reminds us that one of the ways that God has shown his love for us was by giving us the Torah.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah umitzvot, Chukim umishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu uvkumenu nasbiach lidvukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uvmitzvotecha leolam va'ed ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem negeh yomam v'layla Negeh yomam v'layla V'ahavadcha al tasir Mimenu leolamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael.
We're going to continue now on page 34 with Shema Yisrael, the watchword of our faith. I invite everyone who is physically able to please rise for Shema, our affirmation of our belief in one God in heaven and on earth.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
as we join together in the chanting of V'ahavta, which can be found on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Let's continue together on the top of page 39 in English. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Life presents many challenges, many struggles, and we know that when the Israelites were redeemed from Egypt, they went together, and they spent 40 years together in the desert. And part of being connected to a community, a congregation like Temple Shalom, is knowing that there are people here that care for you and about you, that will be there for you in your times of joy and in your times of sorrow. So tonight, as we join together in Micha Mocha, which can be found on page 40, we link ourselves to those who went before us, the Israelites who made it through their challenges, and we who together will make it through ours. Micha Mocha.
Join us, please.
Come on,
When night falls, we know that traditionally it was a time when darkness fell, that people felt less secure and more afraid. Electricity, which we take for granted, was at times not even invented yet. So at nighttime, our tradition led to a prayer that asked God to watch over us at night and to guard us from enemies and famine and any kind of harm. So we're going to continue now with Hashkivenu, which can be found on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'amidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'amidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'amidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoenu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'amidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'amidenu malkeinu lechaim.
v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim.
Thank you for that beautiful piece. It's always nice to see siblings getting along so beautifully and in true harmony. We're going to continue next on page 44 with the singing of Vishamru. This song is specific for Shabbat. It reminds us of the covenant that God made with the Jewish people to remember that God created the world in 6 days and God rested on the seventh. Vishamru, page 44.
Shabbat,
Beautiful. So now we come to the Amidah, the standing benedictions, where we continue on page 46. The first one, Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, is going to be a different tune than we normally do, which is fine. If you know, sing along. And then we will continue on the even-numbered pages through Kedusha. So please rise if you are physically able to do so as we open the ark.
Okay, then sit down. It's okay. Adonai Sfatai. Okay, Sarah, it's a cappella.
Adonai
So during this service, we want to take a moment to really think about those who might be struggling, whether it's with health or with finding employment or with a troubled relationship or with just feeling despair about the condition of our world or the climate or hunger. There are so many things that feel a bit overwhelming. And so we take this moment in our own minds to think of those who might be just going through a hard time, and it could be ourselves, and it could just be in general, offering a prayer that those who are struggling can find some solace on this day. So let's join together on the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh ha-Shabbat. We continue now with the singing of Ritzei, which can be found on 56. We ask that God hear our prayers and that our prayers will be acceptable to God. Ritzei.
Ritzei, Ritzei, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, Be'amcha Yisrael, U'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel, U'tehi l'ratzon chayim, U'tehi l'ratzon chayim, Avodat Yisrael Amecha, Baruch atah Adonai, She'otecha levadecha, Be'yira navod, She'otecha levadecha, Be'yira navod.
Next comes our prayer for peace. It's hard to believe that over 400 days have gone by since the Hamas attack and the fighting and the loss of life on so many sides. It doesn't seem to be very hopeful that there will be any kind of resolution soon. We know there's fighting in Ukraine, which has been going on even longer. And there are so many pockets in this world, so many places on so many continents where there is war and struggle, where people are not safe, where they feel afraid. So tonight, when we continue to pray for peace, and we must not lose hope in the belief that things can get better. Because even when things feel dark and we don't see a way forward, history has shown us that all wars in the past eventually came to an end. And one of the things that we can do is to spread more kindness. We can pay it forward if we're on the line at Starbucks. We can smile at someone or hold the door. I read today when they have a buy one, get one sale at the grocery store, even if you don't really need the second one, look around. There's probably someone in line with you that could use that. What I'm saying is, sometimes it's the small things that we do, just in our own little world, can make a difference. And like they say, when the butterfly flaps its wing on one part of the world, right? Eventually you feel it on the other. Well, that's a way that we can bring more shlemut, more wholeness, which is related to the word shalom, peace, to do what we can here in our city to make this place feel more loving, more kind, and more peaceful. We join together, Shalom Rav, page 60.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech hador lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech hador lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
At this time, we call to mind our loved ones who are in need of prayers of healing, healing of body, mind, or spirit. Tonight, our prayers are with Fran Skall, Gerald Barron, Wes Gersh, Paul Tackett, Diane Levine, Chasia Haberman, Adam Carico, Bogi Terzieva, Ed Gould, Sherry Davies, Carla Wallace, the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces, the men and women of the IDF, the hostages who have been held in Gaza for 406 days, the Israelis who continue to be displaced from their homes and continue to live with daily missile and rocket attacks from multiple fronts, the innocent Palestinians and Lebanese and Syrians who are suffering because of the war started by Hamas on October 7th, and those fighting in Ukraine. I invite those who would like to share the name of a loved one to say their name aloud as my eyes meet yours, so we can keep them in our prayers tonight. We ask that God bring healing to our loved ones, and may we do all that we can to be a source of comfort to our loved ones during their time of need. We join together in our Misha Baruch prayer for healing, which can be found in the middle of page 253. we continue silently with Tefillat Halev, the prayers of our own heart.
Shalom bimromav, uyaseh, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
In this week's Torah portion, there are several stories, several interesting things that happen. But the one that I want to say a few words about tonight has to do with Sodom and Gomorrah. We know that Abraham finds out that God has a plan to destroy Sodom because of the wickedness that exists there. A few Torah portions ago, we read about Parshat Noach. And when God told Noach to build the ark, he says, okay. Noach doesn't question. He builds the ark, gets on with his family, and we know what happens. There's also an interesting line in that Torah portion. The first time we find the word tzaddik, a person who is a righteous person, comes with Noach. He's called an ish tzaddik. But it also says he is a tzaddik b'dorotav, meaning in his generation, meaning relative to the other people who were living at that time. Noach was righteous. Then we come to Abraham, and he hears about God's plan. And he goes to God, as we know, we're familiar, and he says, will you sweep away the innocent with the guilty? Like to Abraham, it's like, what do you mean? Like, there have to be some good people there. And we know that God and Abraham start this arguing back and forth. Abraham says, well, what if there are 50 innocent people? Will you wipe out all the people? If there are 50 righteous? And God says no. When he keeps going down and down and down, and we know eventually he says 10. 10 is the last amount that God is willing to say, if there's 10 righteous, then I will spare the city. Which, of course, is where we get the idea of a minion from. So, we know that God does wipe out Sodom and Gomorrah. But there's a really important lesson in this for us, and it's something that we could relate to today. One is that we are shown that Abraham models for us that we can argue with God. If we think something unjust is occurring, We can argue, especially in this case, God was going to be the one doing it. He fought for what he thought was right. And God didn't get angry with him. He engaged in that dialogue, going back and forth. And today, we too have to be that voice of justice and righteousness. Because think about it. If Abraham was able to argue with God, to stand up to the most supreme authority, then we have the ability and the right and the obligation to stand up too. To stand up when there's not justice, when there's not equality, when there are laws that are discriminatory and practices that are discriminatory. And we learn this from Abraham, from this week's Torah portion. And there is a writing by Rabbi Yitz Greenberg, who's very well known in, he wrote, Your Arms Too Short to Box with God. It was a book. And it tells us in this that the tradition, our tradition, insisted that the infinite God, who is beyond our capacity to understand, who sustains the vast universe, cares about humans. Driven by love, God seeks our relationship and our partnership in repairing creation. Creation is not just limited to making sure we have enough trees to try to reduce the heat canopy. Creation also has to do with human beings in a bigger sense of the term. He writes, although revelation is unlimited, it is cut to the measure of human capacity to understand. In joining humans in covenant, God further self-limits to be available, reachable, and relatable. In that relation of togetherness, rank and power fall away. In the moment the two partners speak heart to heart. What he's talking about, in that moment, Abraham and God were partners. Yes, one was the divine, one was a human being, but they engaged and they spoke and they argued. But they did it in the name of righteousness and justice. And that was okay. And in that moment, they were partners. And that we have the responsibility to continue to fight for justice because Abraham was willing to speak the truth and to speak on behalf of justice. And that we too have that responsibility. We talk a lot at Temple Shalom about tikkun olam, about repairing the world. And we do a lot of great projects, as you see some of them, right? We've sponsored refugee families with the help of many of you. Some physically met with the families, and some were very generous and offered your financial resources. Some help by tikkun olam, by Habitat for Humanity. Different types of donations, bringing food here to JFCS. That's part of tikkun olam. But there's also that other part, that standing up, that being vocal, for doing what we can. Sometimes it's signing petitions. Sometimes it's writing someone in Congress. Sometimes it's picking up the phone and calling someone in a local government. But the idea is that we are empowered and we are expected to take action when there is an injustice. And that's one of the things that we learned from this week's Torah portion. And it's one of the things that in the times in which we're living, it is becoming more and more important for us to be proactive and to not sit back and wait for the other person to take action, especially if we want to keep our values, our rights, the freedoms that we have known for decades. So Abraham is our role model. Abraham is our guide. And I pray that we, in our own way, each of us, will have the courage to take action so that we can bring about more justice into our world. Shabbat Shalom. So I have a few announcements that I would like to share with you. We will be here tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. for Shabbat services. And to all our vocalists and instrument players, we'd love to have you back because the music was really, really beautiful tonight. So thank you for being here and thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah. And we would want them back again, right? Yeah. So we hope that we can make that happen. So I want to thank Steve and Sarah and Linda and Jeannie and Aviv and Sheila and David and Carol. Thanks to all of you for being here, and a special shout out to Sarah, who was kind of like the group organizer. So thank you very much for your efforts. We really appreciate you. Lost Tribe is going to be playing this Sunday at 1 o'clock at Slugger Field. It's the Festivals of Trees and Lights. So if you'd like to hear a wonderful band and you're available, go check that out. There's a Watts Hanukkah potluck dinner coming up on December 10th, so please RSVP. All this was in our email blast. I hope everyone gets it. I hope people read it. Sometimes things are repeated, but we try to, keep adding new, fresh stuff, so please open it up. We're also having a Tikkun Olam in coordination with Watts, a blanket drive for people in need. So we've had a few come in, and please, there's still time for that as well. As far as Joel Chasnoff, you saw him. Hopefully you saw it in the email blast too. We hope that you will come. It'll be a really nice night to be together, and his lunch presentation will be really interesting as well. So please plan to come and bring some friends because it'll be really interesting. I had one other sheet here. Okay. Next Friday night, we have a Jewish and a Muslim woman who are coming from Israel, and they are part of a dialogue group. 2 of them will be here. Other women will be at the other congregations throughout the city. And it should be really interesting to hear what they have to say, especially after October 7th, how they have been able to continue to work together and find common ground. So please come here, be with us, and we'll have an oneg following services. This Tuesday is our next Lunch and Learn. If you have not yet RSVP'd, please do so to Slava. And we are going to Crave. And Fred Levine is going to be our speaker, so thank you, Fred. Jennifer Jacobson and Nancy Rennick, both of whom are on the board, are starting a dialogue group where they eventually want to have everybody participate. And the first one is going to be on November 24th. It was in the email blast. It'll be at Jen's house. So please, if you can't make that one, there will be other opportunities. But this is an opportunity to get feedback and input from the members of our congregation. So we hope that you will support that. Also, there's another opportunity to give, as this coming up is the season of giving. La Casita Center is in need of laundry detergent and cooking oil. So again, those donations can be brought here through November 25th before Thanksgiving. And the blankets are going to the Portland neighborhood in conjunction with Church of the Promise. And that blankets can be brought until Joel Chasnoff's presentation on the 14th of December. So those are a couple opportunities to give. Blankets, laundry detergent, cooking oil, okay? I want to thank Travis. I know it was up here, but for making the slideshow, we put a lot of time, effort, and energy in, and we really appreciate your efforts. I hope that you have enjoyed seeing your names, your loved one names, and seeing some of the things that are going on. If anybody was left off of a list, from the bottom of my heart, I say I am sorry, and it was not intentional. So is there anybody here whose name was left off from one of the categories? I'd like to apologize and make it right now. No? Okay. Also, I want to thank Matt for being our Bima guest this week. And also, again, to our vocalists and our musicians, we really appreciate your being here and enhancing our service. And also, as the video said, a thank you to Ed and Sharon Gould, who are sponsoring Joel Chasnoff. It's going to be a great night. For those who saw him before, come back. For those who never saw him, you won't want to miss him. Okay? All right, I think that's it with all of the announcements. We're going to continue in the middle of page 282 as we rise for Aleinu L'Shabeach as the ark is open. Only rise if you're physically able to do so. We continue on the bottom of page 7. Excuse me. Page 291, selection 7. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. If you are here to recite Kaddish for a loved one, you're invited to rise when their name is read aloud. Tonight we remember Katie Duval, John Hertzfeld Sr., Stanton Kratzak, Gail Luft, Ann H. Master, Mary O'Brien, Nanette Parker, Nella Pergamenchik, and we're in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning for David Rosenberg. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and may they rest in peace as we rise together as a congregation, reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divarach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayeichon u'vyomeichon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'yimeru, amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivorach leolam olomei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei dekudasha berichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yimeru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say together, amen. Please be seated. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you who are here tonight, all who were here for dinner and weren't able to stay for services. As they say, it takes a village, and it's the same with the congregation. It takes all of our members working each in their own way, according to the interests that they have, according to their strengths and their talents. But everyone, each of us, has certain gifts and talents that we can offer. And when we come together as a congregation, each doing our part, it strengthens our congregation, it energizes all of us, it lifts us up, and strengthens our congregation. So I want to thank everybody who has volunteered, not only this past year, but some have volunteered for many, many years. And I really want you to know that you are the heart and soul of Temple Shalom. So thank you from my heart to yours for everything that you have done and for everything that you will continue to do going forward. One more time, I want to thank Slava and the Engagement Committee for your work in getting to get night's dinners together. It was really, really lovely. And I remembered there is one more mazel tov in my head. It goes out to Hetty and Bob and also to Julie. But Hetty and Bob's granddaughter was married. And not only that, Bob officiated. Yeah, pretty fancy. So mazel tov. We hope that the newlyweds will have a wonderful life together. And also, Holly and Alan, you had your granddaughter, right? Was also married. It was a couple months ago, but since you're here, mazel tov as well. Do we have any other simchas that we want to share? Any good news? Yes, Fran. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Anything else? Mazel tov. Carol said her grandson turned 3. Awesome, awesome. All right, well, our concluding song, again, thanks to everyone for being here. Our concluding song is Adon Olam, and it can be found on page 321.
Okay, ready? This is a cheat sheet.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.